Well, for you, and then it won't focus.
Good morning. Sue. Morning, Sue. All right, we're getting underway. It's Sunday fun day, folks. Everyone feel the energy? I got it today. Hopefully you brought some of yours. We're gonna get started by coming to the front part of our mats. We're gonna bring our feet hip width apart. We're gonna align the toes just slightly off the center line. As we turn them out, I like you to kind of grow the legs nice and straight. We're gonna find a little bit of balance within the weight bearing of the feet by drifting forward and backwards. You find a balance front to back of the foot on each side. We're gonna go left to right and distribute the weight equally in both feet. And when we have that, we're gonna bring the legs straight. I like you to try to take your ankles and try to spiral them outward from the center line of the body. And as you do so, I like you to pull your belly button up and into the spine and start to grow the spine, also the neck. Draw your shoulders up to the ears. Turn the palms to face backwards so the thumbs are aiming in towards your body. Spread your fingers widely and then draw them in to your hips or that region, and then proud out the chest to rotate the shoulders backwards. Now rotate forward and backwards. Try to keep the arms straight. We're not bending through the elbow. We're basically just articulating the shoulder joints in and out as you keep the external rotation of the heels. Now, proud out the chest, draw the palms onto the thighs, draw the shoulders up to the ears, and then hinge with the baby fingers to open up. And now put a bend in the elbows. I'm going to draw the elbows up towards the shoulders, keeping the chest nice and proud. Take a big inhale. As you exhale, serve the arms up. As they come forward, let's rotate the palms to face the sky, bring the baby fingers together and the forearms. And now we're going to basically hinge on the baby fingers. We're going to open the elbows, palms come together, and then serve out and rotate the forearms back together. So do that a few times. Now hold it up, serve it out, draw the hips back, keep the internal rotation. Someone's falling off here. It's okay. Take a break as you need. Separate the fingers nice and wide. And then draw the elbows into the body, trace the rib cage, pull them all the way back, and stand tall. Step your heels out in line with the toes. We have the feet aiming straight forward now. As you serve out, draw back the hips, and as you pull back the elbows, push the hips forward, and do that a few times. So today we're going to be working on spinal extensors, sorry, you can say it correctly, shoulder mobility and hip mobility. Now, as we draw back this time, let's rotate the thumbs up to the sky, bring those hands into fists. We're going to start to do some good mornings. I'd like you to draw the elbows in to keep that chest nice and proud. But before we chop at the hips, I'd like you to engage the six-pack muscle and begin to fold. Now, in the folding and unfolding of the upper body, I like to keep the spine nice and long. So we're not doing any spinal flexion. We're just doing hip flexion and extension. Keeping the chest proud, keeping the spine long, keeping that core engaged as you lower and raise the upper body. As we articulate through the hips only, I'd like you to hold down this time and let the hands drop down towards the earth. And now let the spine go into flexion. Let it all hang out.
As you inhale, extend to a flat back. Hold the extension in the back, draw the neck long, draw the hips backwards, walk the hands forward, fill those lungs with air. As you exhale, let the upper body just fold down. Inhale, extend the spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, extend. And fold. Keep the fingers on the earth and let's step those feet back into plank pose. Just why we started at the front of our mats. Allows us to step backwards. How neat is that? Now, feet on the earth. We have the toes tucked under. I want to make sure that we're not rolling onto the baby toes. I like you to try to make a roll more internally so that the ball of the big toe on each foot is more the focus of the weight bearing in your body presently. Keep that as you draw the hips upward and backward to down dog. Then float it back to plank. Keep that internal rotation of the legs as you draw back and as you float forward. This is going to create an opportunity for a little more pull through the back or posterior muscles of the leg. Now, as you draw up and back this time, hold it up and back, drive the heels towards the earth and push up onto the tippy toes. And then do that a few more times. As we keep up on tippy toes, float back to plank, and then gently lower your knees towards the earth, but not on, and then extend the legs straight, pull up and back to down dog. And run this little series a couple more times. Get a nice lengthening through those lower leg muscles. Hopefully. This time we're going to set the knees down, walk the hands back so we're in a quadruped or on all fours position. And we're going to grow the neck nice and long. Then I'd like you to pull up the belly, like just pull it up and into your spinal area. So you keep that engagement that you just created. I'd like you to let the head drift towards the earth. Take the center of the spine and pull it towards the sky. So we're hollowing and pulling at the same time. Now, pulling and hollowing is not a tension-creating exercise. I want you to relax if you feel tension or where you feel tension. And as you release your next breath, I'd like you to continue to pull the belly up and into the spine as you rotate the tailbone and back of head. So you pull to the sky. I'd like you to take your chest and let it drop down in between your arms. I'd like you to take the elbows and spiral them inwardly. As you keep to hollow out the belly, pull the center of the spine to the sky and let the head fall and tailbone tuck. And oscillate between these 2 points at your own pace, a few more times. So right now we're kind of engaging and articulating our spinal column, working flexion and extension of the spine and the neck. And we're going to come back to a neutral spine and we're going to walk the hands forward. So we're kind of like a cobra-like type of position, but we're not going to cobra, we're going to child's pose first. So we're going to float between child's pose and then float forward to the point where you can allow the hips to descend towards the earth and then float back the hips, child's pose. So it's kind of a combo movement type pose, floating forward, making a little bit of a cobra type of attempt, and then coming back. And as you move, I like you to keep an engagement of your core, which means basically like you're pulling through the belly, pulling it up into the spine. You should feel a little more secure in the movements, especially in the lower back. If you keep that engagement relatively active, pulling back to child's pose, holding back there. Now, I was on my tippy toes. I want you to come onto the tops of your feet if you were like me. And if you're already there, you had nothing to do. Spread the knees a little wider to the width of the mat, and then we're gonna walk the hands back to bring the hips close to the heels. We're gonna put a little more weight or emphasis in the lengthening of those shin muscles of ours. It should feel relatively nice. If you have knee issues and this is a little problematic, you don't have to sink to the depth that I'm going to. You find your own version of what we're doing right now that works for your body. Take a big breath in, and as you exhale, come back up, tuck your toes under, step your hands back under your shoulders. We're back into all fours, nice and comfortable. We're gonna widen out the stance, hands, knees, and feet, all to the width of the mat. We're gonna shift to the right, back center, and shift to the left, and translate from side to side, a few times, nice and slow. And then center it all up with the toes tucked under still. You're gonna float the knees and then pull the hips upwards to down dog. And then walk the hands back towards the feet. Gonna inhale, extend into a flat back. You're gonna exhale, pull back down, and then do that a few more times. Now, keep the back in extension. Straighten out the legs as best you can. And then let's take the ball of each big toe and push it into the mat as you work to straighten the legs. And as you do that, I'd like you to draw the hips backwards. Keep the spine nice and long. Keep that neck nice and long. Keep tension free for that whole spinal column. Draw back a little deeper if you can. Now, bend both knees, flatten out the feet, keep the back in a tabletop type position. Hold here for a couple seconds. See if you can get your butt a little closer to the earth. And then push the legs straight. Push both ball of each big toe into the mat. Spine goes to extension, neck goes to extension. Draw the hips backwards. Keep those big toe ball there out, pushing into the mat as you work to straighten the legs. Hold on this for a couple more seconds. And then as you release this breath, flatten out the feet, bend both knees, tabletop the back, keep a nice lot of flexion in those hips. We got a lot of flexion. You should feel those muscles working. Now push the hips back up, ball of each big toe, hips draw back as the legs straighten, walk the hands forward this time. Take a big inhale as you exhale, let the upper body fold down. Flatten out the feet as you unfold the body. Sweep the arms to the sun to salute. Take a big inhale, and as you exhale, relax the arms. Maybe say, good morning, everybody. How are we doing? Sunday Fun Day is underway. All right. Let's take another breath in. Sun salute. Salutation. It's just the warming of the shoulder. Let's do this a few more times. So sweep it up and lower it back down. Have some variation where you go. Forward of the body, more backwards if you can. Explore the range of motion in different arm trajectories. Moving upward and downward. Try to keep the arms straight through the elbows. Nice and slow. Movement under tension. So it's not that we're tense, but we have muscle activation for the whole range of motion. Nice and slowly controlled. All right, now hold it down. I'm going to shake out your shoulders.
Yeah.
Shake it out, baby. All right, now we're going to take the shoulders and let's talk couple sound bites here on how we keep shoulder positioning posture wise. So a lot of times people will try to pull the shoulders back, because you can see there's a lot of effort we're doing required to do that. And why it's important to integrate spinal flexion with our shoulders is that if I extend my spine, I have to work less hard to keep the shoulders back in position. So let's work on some spinal extension. So let's flex in, push the chest forward and up, draw the shoulders back. Now I'm going to put my hands on my thighs, so we can roll in and roll the elbows forward
And you're gonna sweep the elbows into the body, extend the spine, stand tall, and pull the elbows in towards the back part of the body. So it's kind of like a rotation forward and extension. So flexion, rotation inwardly, extension, rotation externally. And rotate in and back out, hold the out, palms are facing forward, separate those fingers nice and widely, draw those elbows back, draw those elbows up, take a big inhale, and as you exhale, serve the hands forward. Locate baby fingers and forearms together, draw the butt backwards. Let's lower the body by bending to the knees. Now, as you lower down, I like to keep that serving out. Now, if your hands are rotating inwardly, try to rotate them externally. Come low, stand tall, push the arms out. Keep the arms pushing out as you lower the hips. So we're going to raise and lower, and we're going to add a little nuance into this. So as you lower down, I like you to pull the elbows in, try to spiral the heels away from the center line of the body. And as you stand tall, keep those heels spiraling out as you push out the arms and serve it up. Pull down, stand tall, keep those external rotation through the palms best you can. And as you stand tall this time, palms flip together, interlock the fingers. Great job. Now, what's the matter? Too many arms today? I'm going to interlock the fingers. I'm going to draw the hips backwards. I'm going to keep the arms extending out nicely. And we're just simply going to pump the arms up and down. And it's just the arms. You should feel some of the musculature on that upper back, maybe even the middle part of the back, being actively working. Try to pull the palms apart, but keep them together. So we have that internal connection, the palms, but the external activation of the muscles that pull the arms out. Now, hold it up, stand tall, release the grip, bring hands over heart, take the right foot, step it forward. Proper separation. We're moving on to legs. No, we're acting arms and legs together there. All right, so heel, back foot, aiming sky. So we haven't rotated internally, externally. We have a nice squaring of the hips forward. We're going to lean into this. Thank you, Cheryl. You know what I'm talking about, right? Sandra. That lean in reference. I get it. It's Sunday, you're not expecting the best from me. That's for Mondays and Tuesdays. All right, so we keep that nice extension for the spine. Stop looking at it like that. Now, as we keep this extension, we're just adding duration to work in that right butt cheek. So we're going to come back up to a standing position. And we're going to fold over that front leg again. See if you can get a little deeper. And then slowly raise up. And lower down. And we're going to add a little movement into this. In the back foot. So when we raise up, when we're rise, we're going to take the back heel, drop it to the earth. And I don't mean drop it, I mean lower with muscle, push back up under the toes, and then lean back in, increasing the range of motion if it's possible. Rising back up slowly, heel rise to the earth, push back up, and fold back down. Remember, spine extension as opposed to getting to a point and letting it all collapse. Keep the posterior muscles of the spine, posterior muscles of the spine active in this whole range of motion. Lowering, raising, heel dropping, fun. I mean, big fun. Push up this time. Step the back foot forward, shake out that right leg if you need to, and then change up sides. Nice. We're keeping hands.
Bend in the front leg.
How much bend do you have in the front leg? How much bend do you want in the front leg? Not a lot. So, beginning the movement, slowly down and slowly up. And continue. Do a little less talking this time. We know the cueing, some of the subtleties we can talk about, some of the benefits here. So we're practicing range of motion through the hips by increasing the range of motion as we lower and as we raise. And we're muscle activating your gluteals because when you hip hinge, the glute max actually, controls the rate of descent and gives you the strength to come back up. So there's a lot of emphasis on that muscle. And now we're going to add into this exercise, just like we did before. When we rise up, heel lowers to the ground, pushing back up onto the toes, folding back down. You might notice that problem of balance changes from one side to the next. So it's important that we're doing bilateral work to ensure that we have an opportunity to gain balance on both sides of the body. So just continue doing what you're doing until you can't do it anymore, or until I say, it's time to change. And the more I do it, the more my balance gets challenged. This is my bad leg, obviously. Now coming back up in the tiptoes, step back, foot forward. We've done the exercise. Hands push up to the sky. I have to move back so I don't put my hands into the fan. Not good. Palms are now facing forwards. Fingers are separated widely. Take a big inhale, and as you exhale, let the arms fall shoulder height. Now separate the fingers, keep them separate, and pull with them to expand. So we're literally pulling out the whole chest, the whole back, all those arms pulling, pulling, pulling. Take a big breath in, and as you exhale, fold, and let the arms go to the earth. Walk out to your plank. And then lower down onto the earth. Keeping sure I'm in camera here. Keeping the hands by the shoulders. I have an elevation of my face off the mat, so I haven't turned to the side. My nose is literally hovering over the mat. I want to make sure we have good spinal support. So I want you to engage your muscles like you're going to get punched in the belly and keep that nice activation. This sometimes comes at the expense of creating tension in the neck. I want you to be relaxed through the neck, engaged through the tummy. Spine's growing long. I want you to proud out the chest. If that force is creating an unfair balance in your pressure in your rib cage, we're going to change up something just ever so slightly. And that is, we want to lengthen the spine as opposed to proud out the chest. So grow the spine long. Keep that nice activation, and now we're going to walk the hands. So I want you to come up on the fingertips, and like you're walking yellow pages, walk the hands forward. Directly, straight forward, and come all the way up. I'm going to keep on the fingertips. If you ever watch The Addams Family, you kind of get what I'm talking about, just kind of walking hand. So we're going to keep our connection point is the fingertips. We have a cupping in the hand, and we have a desire, or not, to walk forward a little more, give me just a fractional amount forward, and then proud out the chest, pull the head long, and push your chest in towards the earth. Hold on this for a couple breaths, and then walk it back, hands walking in reverse. The elbows are pushing out away from the center line of the body, coming all the way back. And when we get the hands back by the shoulders, keep up on the fingertips, and then draw the elbows in together. Now I have my toes tucked under. I'd like you to make sure that if you're doing that, that your ankles or heels haven't splayed out. So keep the heels aiming up at the sky, and then let's walk the hands forward one more time.
Keeping up on the fingertips, arms walking forward, fingers walking forward, sorry, arms pulling forward, fingers walking forward a little more. Take a big breath in, and as you exhale, let everything relax. Turn your head to the side. Enjoy a little bit of a break.
Put the arms out.
The arms out. Yeah. And then return your head back to the nose down position with it slightly above the earth. Come up onto the fingertips. Walk the hands back in towards the body. Flatten out the palms and push with the arms to keep the hips low and bring extension to the spine. And then slowly fold back down. And then let's move slowly between the 2 points. Raising up to what you feel is comfortable, lowering down slowly. Inhaling as you raise the body. Exhaling as you lower it back down. Come up, hold up, pull the hips up, and come into all fours. Reposition your arms, get a nice stable position, knees under hips, hands under shoulders. Turn the elbows in towards the center line. Roll that neck nice and long. Push the chest through the arms as you continue to spiral those elbows inward. And now we're going to move our shoulder blades, literally like by pushing up out of this stance and dropping down in between the arms. So we're going to push, elevate, and then lower down. Try to see if you can do this a few times, nice and slowly. As you lower, imagine there's a string tied on the outside of each shoulder, pulling the shoulders out and away from the center line of the body. So we're expanding out, even when we're raising up and lowering down. Hold down, flex the spine, let the head relax, pull the hips backwards, and then float forwards. Straighten out the spine. Pull the back of the head to the sky as you flip the tailbone to the sky. Pull your belly up and into the spine. Let the head lower. Let the lumbar spine or upper back flex. Keep it in flexion as you draw the hips backwards towards the heels. Keep it in flexion as you move forward. Bring the extension into the equation as you rotate the tailbone to the sky and pull the back of the head skyward also. Let's do that a couple more times. All right, let's find ourselves now all on all fours, toes tucked under, hips pull to the sky. Hands walk back to the feet. As you inhale, unfold, salute the sun. There's everyone's pretty face again. As you exhale, lower the arms all the way down, take the right foot stepping forward. Woo. Now, let's take that left. So we're going to hold a relatively upright position. I'd like you to take the left knee and slowly lower it down. So we're kind of doing like a modification of a squat. This is a split squat. We're going to rise up. When we rise up, I'd like you to come onto the tippy toes of the back foot. When we go down, I'd like you to drive the heel towards the earth. And push back up. And repeat this several thousand times. I'm joking. Nice and slow. Try to get that understanding of what tension for the movement. That's just muscle activation. We're not dropping up, popping up. There's muscle creating movement through all of the range of the motion. Now let's hold up and then switch up. Find that nice position. Begin the exercise down and up. Remember to drive the heel downward, the tippy toes when you rise up. So driving down when we lower down.
and pushing to tippy toes when we rise up. Next repetition, step it forward, keep the hands over heart. Pray that the next exercise is more challenging or less challenging. I don't know. See what prayer gets answered. Let's push the palms together, raise the elbows up, rotate the fingers internally so they're on or pointing towards your body. Keep them separated, keep the palms together, and then rotate through. Forward and down, all the way up. All right, so we're just doing internal, external rotation. Hold the palms, hands over heart. Step the feet to the width of the mat. Keep the palms pushing together. Keep the legs straight. Extend the arms out, pull the butt backwards. You notice that the pressure in the palms changes relative to the proximity to the body. So as we draw in closer, you get more pressure, more force, but as you push out, there's less force, less pressure. So extend out, keep that pressure realized through as best you can, of course, coming in and pushing out. The outwards mat by the back, pulling back, sorry, hips pulling backwards, and the hands pushing forward. Palms pushing together. Come back up, standing, relax everything. Take your feet back into a hip wide position. Sweep your shoulders up to the ears. Turn your palms to face backwards. Rotate the shoulders internally. Now, external rotation. We're going to flip the palms open all the way as far back as we can, crowding out the chest. And then we're internally rotating all the way inwardly. And externally, work this range of motion a few more times as we work on our shoulder mobility. We're really working on the muscles that help the scapula, the shoulder blades, to function while we do internal and external rotation of the shoulders themselves. It's really the arms moving internally and externally, but it's like shoulder related. Now hold the palms facing forward, fingers are separated nice and widely. Sweep the arms up shoulder height. Bring the palms together. Open the arms wide, kind of like a bird flying, but we're not really birds and we're not really flying. And we're going to bring back some extension across the body. Separating those fingers nice and widely. Pull with them, pull wide. Pull like they're pulling the arms out of the sockets of the shoulders. Keep that nice pull. Bring your big finger, I guess it's your fingers and your thumb, index finger and thumb together to form a little eyeglass. We're going to come into a football or a football goal post, if you will. So we're bending at the elbows. Elbows are shoulder height. Now we're going to lower the elbow down. And when we raise it up, we're going to bring the eyeglass on the right arm here to the right eye. And then field goal, position that arm. Left elbow down. As we raise it up, eyeglass the left eye. And put it back in its spot. Down, up an eyeglass, and back to spot. Opposite side. Do that a few times on each side. It's not a majorly stressful exercise. It's more of a nerve flossing type of exercise. Important to reduce numbness that we sometimes develop through the nerve channel. Now, relax the arms, sweep them back up the sky, move them a couple more times around just to kind of loosen things up and shake it out. Come on down, join me on the mat. Grab a little bit of water.
Grab the full body stretch.
All right. So hip mobility, and Mark has addressed the the progressions available with this exercise. So the exercise I like to show or demonstrate use that works on the internal external rotation of the hips can also done in a supine or lying down position. And that's simply to demonstrate is if I was positioned where my feet were on a wall, I'd be like this. Now, some of the things I like to kind of cue in is that there's the external rotation of the pelvic girdle, which means my low back is kind of jumped off or is off the floor. So I like to try to internally rotate the pubis region. So I'm pulling up and I can feel that low back skin touching. And with that muscle activation, I can basically take my hips and I can start to rotate. So it would be the wall supporting the foot, and I would just basically hinge on the outside of my right leg to start, bring it back up, and then hinge open the left leg, and then alternate side to side. So this is bilateral work, keeping stable through the belly. And it's a lot easier to do when you're not floating the feet in the air, because you can actually feel and get the tactile, get the touch of the foot on the wall. But this is an intermediary exercise that kind of allows you to bridge to what we're about to do. Now, I'm going to bring the knees back in, rotate, oh, sorry, fold it back down, so I'm up and back into a seated position. Someone's laughing at me. Your cueing is funny. You're making me laugh. All right, so I'm going to bring the left hip, left side of the mat. Going to run my thigh parallel to the mat, give me a 90-degree bend in that foot. And so the next or another level of this, if you will, is just by planting the foot as opposed to doing 99. It's just a 90-degree. And we're going to keep that right foot. Now, the angle of the foot, whatever you prefer. If you can angle it outwards, better.
So you want the back foot planted on
Planted.
the floor?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what planting means. Putting it down, planting it. So with the foot planted, right foot planted, I'm going to use my right knee now. So I'm going to keep my left leg inside, and I'm just going to hinge on the ball of the big toe, that right foot, and move that right knee towards the earth. And then I'm going to rise or raise that leg, and then I'm going to externally rotate it by using the outside of that foot, right foot, to bring the leg backwards. So you feel a nice stretch through the inner thighs, and mostly on the right side as we externally rotate, and then a nice pull over that right hip as we internally rotate the right leg. So just oscillate between external and internal rotation. Nice and slow. Again, the active use of muscle through the whole range of motion is what you're trying to accomplish. So we're not just letting the leg fall from side to side. It's purposeful. Assist with arms as you need. I need a lot of assistance. So I use it, and I recommend that you use it, because what we're really working on is range of motion. And we can guarantee that with proper support, we'll have just the right amount of overload in this movement, the muscles activating the movement to keep it beneficial. All right, so let's bring it up, hold it up, and then we're going to take our upper body now and fold it down onto the front leg. Again, this is with assistance if needed. If you can also do this exercise with little or no help from the arms.
With your leg up. Oh my God, not possible.
Not possible.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it is possible. I'm doing it. Okay, enough fun on this side. My muscles are starting to cramp. We're going to change it up. Too much information?
Yeah.
Thanks for oversharing, Sean. All right, so right side, same setup as the left side. Got my leg parallel, 90-degree bend, and now we're going to start with the internal and external rotation of that left leg Rolling all the way open.
Knee down.
Keep the knee down.
The front
You
knee.
keep your knee down. So funny when someone's correcting somebody. Oh, yeah.
Well, that would be a good thing to do, because if you let this knee go up, then you get a lot more range, so what do you want? You want it up or down?
I want to do something. All right, so let's hold up. Rotate the upper body. Fold down. And unfold. And continue to do so. Keep this knee up. Secure it. On this next repetition, we're going to sit it up, swing both legs forward. A lot of hip mobility exercise there. Some of it's strenuous, some of it isn't. All of it's necessary to keep nice mobility through the hips. As we come into our staff pose with feet the width of the mat, I'm going to take my toes now, and I'm going to separate them. Kind of the same thing I like to do with my fingers. So as we widen out through that section of toes, best we can, you'll notice some funky things often happen. You know, sometimes your toes point backwards, sometimes they do opposite things halfway through. As best you can, I like you to keep the toes in the same plane as the foot and make them wider. It's a little bit different activation. They're so used to walking, there's a lot of flexion through those toes of ours. We're going to try to just spread them nice and widely. And then we're going to rotate the feet internally and then rotate the feet externally while you try to keep the toes separated widely. Try not to bend through the knees. This is a single plane movement. Inwardly, externally, internally, externally. Hold up the toes, bring hands over hearts, or assist if you need. Come down Pilates style. One vertebrae at a time, all the way down. Bring the hands all the way above the head. Point the toes. Now use the toes to pull the lower body long and use the fingers now to pull the upper body long, but in the opposite direction. Fill the lungs. Exhale it. Let the arms come back down. Step your feet in towards the body. Take your left leg over the right. Use that left leg to pull the right leg towards the left side of the body as you draw the right arm up to the sky and then sweep it directly backwards. Sweep the right arm up, flatten out the back, bring it flat to the earth, switch up the legs, and do the opposite side. And switch up sides. So we're oscillating or moving from side to side. Let's roll onto our backs. Pull the knees up and into the body. Bring your forehead up to meet knees and rock and roll up to a seated position. Crossing legs, crossing the left leg onto the right, making it into the number 4, everyone's favorite number, 4. And then we're going to walk forward the upper body as we lower down towards that right leg. Inhale, grow the spine. Exhale, flex the spine. Inhale, extend the spine. Exhale, flex. Inhale, extend. Keep the extension, come back up to the seated position, switch up sides. As we sit up on the opposite side, slowly lowering down the upper body. Finding our low spot, inhaling, extending the spine. Exhale, flex. Inhale, extend. Exhale, flex. Next inhale, keep the extension, come back up to seated position. Extend both legs forward. I'm going to reposition my hips, so now I'm going to walk both hands forward in between feet. I'm going to place my hand over top of the toes if I can access them. I'm going to pull the toes in towards the shin. As I inhale, extend to a flat back. Exhale, flex, pull the toes. Inhale, extend. Exhale, flex, pull the toes. Inhale, extend, hold the extension, release the hands, come back up to seated. And now bring hands over hearts. So let me thank you for joining us today. Namaste.
Namaste.
Okay. Whew.
We did it.
Feel like I can go back to bed now.